Hello everybody, thank you so much for clicking on my video. This is my first video on my YouTube channel. I thought I would make a channel that I could kind of upload my builds from The Sims 4 to, do like speed builds and that kind of thing. But yeah, I thought it would be kind of fun to interact with people who are into the same things as me. I do play other games, but probably this channel is going to primarily be mostly Sims builds related. I mean, I might do other things in the future. I'm not really sure yet. Um, but yeah, I thought it would just be a good idea to kind of make a channel where I could interact with people who were in the same things as me and, kind of showcase my builds and stuff like that. So, yeah. What I'm doing here is building a greenhouse. I got this idea to kind of do this like by the bay inspired like garden house where like maybe a botanist lived there or something along those lines, and she was just like, it was just like completely overgrown with flowers. I wanted there to be a level of mysticism to it. Like I knew that like the sim that lived here lived alone, and she's kind of like, she's into like planting and just growing her own food and stuff like that. So I wanted to build a greenhouse to kind of complement the actual house I'm gonna build, which I'll be getting to that shortly. And just for like, just so you know, this video is probably gonna have like two parts because it took forever to do the landscaping to this particular build. So in this part, you're gonna see basically the build of the greenhouse, the actual house, and then the landscaping. And then in the second video, you'll see like actually me decorating the inside of the house. So, the idea behind this house is that a sim lives here, like I said, who's like very into botany and stuff like that, and um, just into growing her own stuff and kind of reclusive. So that's why she lives alone. Maybe she reads a lot and just very into alone time and very into her garden, which is why it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Very in your face, I guess. Because there will be quite a bit of plants in the front yard. It's a pretty good sized garden, as you'll be able to see once once we get to that point. But here I'm just kind of like figuring out where I want to put everything and stuff like that. I added a seating area just because I thought that would be kind of like a focal point of the greenhouse, of inside the greenhouse rather. Um, and I'm just kind of figuring out what I want to do with this little window. I love this window. I don't have all the Sims packs yet because I just started playing The Sims like several months ago. I used to play The Sims like Busting Out and Castaway and stuff on PS2, but like I haven't played in a really long time, so I'm still getting used to the controls and stuff and still trying to get all the packs together and all that. But here I'm just kind of like trying to emulate a seating area on the little window ledge there. And that window ledge is from the laundry day stuff, I believe. I might be wrong. And then I'm using the little poof cushions that for some reason are in the side table category to kind of emulate seating on the ledge of the window. And just kind of like adding the basics, like a little table, stuff like that, decorations and stuff. Um, like I said, I'm still trying to get used to the controls of The Sims 4 on PC because I've never played The Sims 4 on PC, and it's kind of gone pretty well, but it's definitely different for me because I'm not used to. Because I recently got back into gaming in general, and I never played on PC up until several months ago, so I'm still kind of like learning the ropes in general because I used to play like actually on the PS2 console mostly, and I played Xbox and stuff before, but this is a little different. So here I'm just building the actual house, and this house took ages, and I do not mean that lightly. I wanted it to look interesting, but I also didn't want it to look odd. So trying to figure out how I wanted the shell to kind of come about was interesting, because it just took me a really long time to figure out where everything should go and where the little nook and cranny should be inside of it and stuff like that, because I wanted the house to I wanted it to look old. I didn't want the structure of it to look modern per se, but like um it was just, especially like the roofing, which I'm sure many other builders can definitely agree with me on that. Like the roofing is very challenging on the Sims, in the Sims 4, because sometimes it doesn't always do what you want it to do. So yeah, just trying to get everything together and trying to figure out where I want to put everything and stuff like that. I wanted to have like little tiny balconies towards the upper levels of the house, and then I wanted to have at least one that wrapped around the back of the house. So that ended up coming together pretty well. And I ended up having the little balconies, which I had intended to like put plants on. Um, so basically, I'm just kind of like adding the little extras and stuff. I didn't want it to look too like flat on the side, because I feel like that's not realistic. I feel like there's gonna be houses that have like the little, the little boxes to the side, little this and that on the sides, and it's not just like a straight up and down shell, unless you're building like an actual apartment building or something like that. You know what I mean? So I was trying to like emulate it as closely to something that you would like, a house that you would think was pretty old and dated and was built with the intention of having all those little nook and crannies in it. Um, I'm just adding the staircase and stuff there and getting that together. And yeah, at I struggled trying to figure out where I wanted to put windows and stuff like that, and what kind of doors I wanted to use, because it just seemed like that nothing was working. So you'll see me kind of going back and forth to those kind of things. I thought the posts would look interesting if I had them extend all the way down to the ground, because I'm going to eventually be putting in a flower bed in that little front area there. So yeah, I'm just adding like the window placement and trying to figure out what kind of windows I want to use. I was going to use those windows at first, but like I don't like those windows in that color particularly, because I don't know, they don't look like, they're very like square, and that bothers me. Like there's no kind of texture or depth to the side of them whatsoever. And I ended up scrapping those windows and using the windows from the Realm of Magic. Um, yeah, so I'm just kind of like, I'm adding the windows and stuff like that. I ended up scrapping those windows and putting in the ones from the Realm of Magic, like I said, which I actually ended up really liking, because the top of the door is round, and those little, I just thought it complemented the windows really well, that they kind of like matched the front door in a way. And I'm just adding more Realm of Magic windows, and they are mismatched, but I felt like that gave the house like character, so that's why I'm doing that. And I'm just kind of like adding little windows to the top, which I wasn't sure about, because it kind of bothered me that they weren't completely even with like, and I know that sounds weird, but they weren't completely even with how like the arch of the roof was. So that was a thing for a minute, and then I got over that real quick. I'm like, whatever, you know what I mean? Because I kind of got a little worried there for a minute, because it was kind of looking a little weird to me. But once I started adding like the little like black, like I guess it's paneling. No, it's like trim, the black trim. There we go. To the house in general, like between like the upper levels and stuff like that, it really started coming together. I'm like, okay, this might work actually. So I'm just like adding that and getting that put together, and adding the roofing trim and stuff like that. I actually ended up really happy with how this came out. I mean, it's not like the most, like it's not the best shell ever, but like it ended up looking how I wanted to look. I wanted it to look like a Bayside older style home, because I feel like this sim has inherited this house, and yeah, maybe it's really, really old and it's been passed down through the family. So I kind of wanted to emulate that it was not a modern house at all. I wanted there to be a level of mysticism to it, and I definitely think I achieved that without making it look creepy, which wasn't the goal. I didn't want to make it look creepy, but um, like the son that lives here is into plants and stuff like that, and probably like a caster or or an aspiring caster, one of the two. I don't know quite yet. I hadn't figured out quite yet at this point, but yeah. So basically, at this point, I had to actually restart my game because the game glitched on me and was not allowing me to add the flooring on the deck. So that was fun. I'm just adding the fence here. Um, and we're about to start on the landscaping at this point, which took honestly the longest out of any of it. I would say the landscaping, the house itself, and then the greenhouse in the order of what took the longest. But like, I'm glad I was like patient and like persevered with it because it turned out pretty nice. I was pretty happy with the end result. So I'm just adding like the walkways and stuff like that and figuring out where everything needs to go. I kind of went into this a little blindly. Like, I knew I wanted the front yard to be really um, like vintage romantic, like a vintage romantic gardening look to it, if that makes sense. And I knew I wanted to have like a bigger tree in the front yard. And I ended up using that purplish tree because I thought it complemented the siding and stuff really well, and it ended up going really well with the plants that I chose to put in. Um, yeah, so I'm using a lot of debug stuff as well in this build because, let's be honest, a lot of the um, debug items are better than the plants that they offer in the gallery. And I'm adding a little romantic garden stuff, wishing well, which is just too cute. Now I don't think it's gonna be like functionable because I put all the plants around it, but it was just for the aesthetic of it anyway, so whatever. Um, and I'm trying to like I found that I you're gonna see me like really struggle for a minute with the tree behind it because I found a there's this one tree in debug that has little white flowers on it, and I just think it's too cute, but I couldn't put that behind the well, and you'll see me mess with that for a long time, and I was so disappointed that I couldn't use that because it just didn't look right with the two big trees in the front yard. But yeah, actually the pond that I'm doing here now was not planned at all. It was kind of like, you know what, let's just put it here and see what happens. And I'm so glad that I did because it really became the focal point of the front yard. And um, I'm just adding like the little rocks and stuff around it, and it ends up looking so pretty at night because I end up putting lights around it, and it's which you'll be able to see that. And yeah, I put a little bench there. I thought it would be cute to have your son like sit there, at night and stuff like that, and maybe read or something. I just thought it was so sweet, and uh, yeah, I'm just putting like the little rocks and all that stuff. Um, I end up going back a couple times to the pond because I end up adding like this and that to it. Eventually end up adding an archway, which you'll see. And now I'm just doing the lights, and you're about to see what it looks like at night. Look at that. Love it. Um, but yeah, just adding like some lights so everything doesn't look so bland at night. And now I'm focusing on the front flower bed. And I knew I was gonna do like a front flower bed, but I didn't think it was gonna turn out as extravagant as it ended up turning out. Like, I honestly thought I was probably just gonna put a few plants and just call it a day, but I ended up doing like a full like I, it just looks very like something you would see in a botanical garden. But yeah, I'm putting some fencing in and stuff and trying to fill in the little spots so it doesn't look bare. This actually, it took a minute to find plants that complemented each other rather than just looking like everything was tossed on top of one another. But I ended up really liking it, and I go in and I add one of the statues from the Romantic Garden stuff pack, and I ended up really, really, really liking how this little front flower bed looked. I thought that this statue added the vintage mysticism look that I was going for. And I'm just adding the little statue in there. I really like how it turned out. I keep saying that, but like, you know, when you have an idea in your head and it kind of even if it's just like halfway translates to what you were trying to accomplish, then it's a good day. I wanted to do like a little graveled seating area in this corner over here. That would be functional and all that. So I'm just adding a little bench, kind of figuring out what I want to put over there in that corner. I added the wedding arch, which ended up going really nicely with the bench, I think. And, you know, plants and all that stuff. Some fake grass, it's all fake. And then, yeah, kind of messing around with the decorations and stuff like that. I ended up finding those two big bushes there, which I thought were just beautiful and looked really nice with the bench. And I found that little wheelbarrow thing, and I almost ended up scrapping it, but I was like, you know what, it looks good in front of the well, so I'm just going to put it here. Added more plants around the well. And yeah, it's at this point, it's really starting to come together how I want it to. I did the little gravel area like I said I wanted to, and I just kind of like cleaning that up some. Yeah, so at some point, which you'll see here, I'm kind of struggling to figure out what kind of plants I want to use by the front door, because I didn't want it to look like way too much, you know what I mean? So, and then I have that little thing there. I was like, you know what, this would look great on the balcony, little balcony areas, because I was going to put plants up there anyway. And I was like, you know what, why not use these? I put the little pine tree. I thought that complemented the front door really well. More plants. Those little, I don't know what those are. I don't even know if that's an actual species of plants, but I added a little debug, what are they called? Archway around the bench in front of the pond. And there I am struggling with the tree, because I really wanted to put that tree there because I thought it looked nice with the well, but it did not look nice in the yard with the other big tree, and I wasn't willing to let that one go, so I ended up having to delete that one. I'm just adding like actual functional items. I ended up not focusing as much on like vegetable and herb garden items as much as I thought I was going to. So I just put a couple of those in the front yard, and now I'm just filling in some spaces in the back because I felt like it would look kind of weird if I didn't put any kind of plants in the back. So I just did like your average garden in the back of the house. Did a little sunflower garden. I love sunflowers. Those are my favorite flowers, so of course I had to have those. I'm adding some rocks to add more of that realism look. Yeah, I'm just kind of like wrapping things up here, adding the little rocks and just the little details in general to get everything looking complete and put together. Adding some little lily pads there. I go in and clean some things up, and I do some work on the terrain and all that. Other than that, I mean, I end up going back into the greenhouse, which you'll see here shortly, and I add like some little cacti plants and stuff like that I think I kind of missed the first time around. I tend to jump back and forth when I'm building because it's less like, it doesn't make me as anxious because I know I can just go back and like look at it with fresh eyes and see what like an area needs or something like that, what an area needs or something like that. But like, yeah, I'm doing some terrain work so the front yard doesn't look so flat. And I guess that's probably it because, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. There's going to be a montage at the end so you can see everything more clearly. If you liked this video and you want to see more videos like this from me in the future, you can subscribe and hit the bell notification. My social media will be in the drop box below. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great day. Bye, guys.